In this video we are going to work on the spine, and we are going to generate a way of controlling spine in a starting with an IK handle, and then we're going to be adding later on some FK controllers for the back, and then eventually we're going to be connecting it to the neck. So first of all, before we move on into doing anything, we just want to verify that the spine, although our character has been bound already, but we want to verify that the spine is showing the correct orientation. Now, we already took care of this earlier in the process, but still you want to verify that everything is working correctly. And for doing that, I'm going to just double check and go in on their transform display. I'm going to just click on local rotation axis, and that should show. If I hit 4 and select the geometry, I'm going to select, not sorry the geometry, but select the individual joints that I want to show the rotation axis. I'm going to do it one more time. Under display, transform display, local rotation axis. That will show me the rotation of the spine. And yes, I had it set up where, starting with the root joint, just get this one shown into in a correct way, being consistent, having X to be the main axis going upwards or down the chain, and and Y being pushing forward. The last one is the the last joint which is rotating is working in a different direction, although it won't affect anything because at the end of what is going to be the spine, I'm going to change it so I make it consistent with the other ones that are down the chain, so all of them have a similar rotation. In this case I have my Y reversed there, but I'm not going to change it. Okay, so I'm going to go back and turn off, select all the joints and turn off the orientation just to have it consistent. But before I do that, I'm going to just modify this one by changing it in a similar direction compared to the other ones. So I'm going to go back up on X and making sure that I'm going a little too far with it. So I'm going to go back there, and then I'm going to go on Z, pushing it forward, just holding J so it snaps to the right location. So now, oh, actually it went too far. It's just my graphics card, I think it's taking a little time to refresh. Let me see, Z going to the right, and that's correct now, although it won't be affecting it much. I think it's for consistency, I want it to be that way. Okay, now I'm going to select all those joints that I just have orientation, and I'm going to just turn it off so I don't have too much information visually on the screen. So I'm going to just say display again, transform display, local rotation axis being off. So now we are going to create an IK, but in this case it's going to be a different type of IK. It's not the IK handle that we use for the arms or legs. It's an IK spline, which is found under the skeleton. Create IK spline. I'm going to just open it up just to verify what it is. There's going to be a root and curve. There's going to be auto parent curve, and there's an auto creator curve. And just simply the number of spans is going to be just a single span, one curve, and a twist being linear. So I'm just keep it the way it is. I'm going to just click close on that one, and I'm going to click between the root and that last joint, which is the one that is going to be doing all the work for the spine. The last, in this case, is the coloring in my sequence. That generated a few things, a few nodes. You can discover that under the sternum being the last joint, I'm sorry, the collar being the last joint, generating an effector that I'm gonna call it IK spine, and I'm gonna call it effector just to know what that is. And then I'm just put the word spine, and then I'm going to do the same thing for naming the other ones, which are an IK handle and a curve. So I'm gonna call it IK underscore spine underscore handle, right? And then the other one I'm gonna call it the same thing, IK underscore spine underscore CRV for curve. If I wanted to test this right now, this has created an IK handle going all the way down on the spine on the back. It just place it that way and modify the spine a little bit, and you see what it did to my geometry, and seems to be fine so far. If your geometry is slightly different, it should be fairly okay for you to work with it. Okay, so now I'm going to hide my head there. And there is one thing that we want to be conscious of, is that all these things that we created, those 3 assets, the one that is going to be manipulating actually that spine is the curve. That curve was created there. So in order to test and to see what it's going to do, we're going to do by component, and we're going to select the first selection by point components. That way I can select the first point of the curve, and I'm just gonna move it, and you see what it is going to be doing. So it's allowing me to have spine to curve in different ways, having some control over it. I'm just gonna undo it to go back to the original position, and that is going to do good things for it, but I cannot try to animate that from the curve, from selecting the curves or the curve points to animate it. So I need to generate some sort of like a manipulator for it, or some sort of like a object that will connect to it. In order to do that, I am going to select the joins that I have, being the first join and the last join there. So just make sure that I just select the joins. I'm going to just show none and just show joins. That way you can see just, so it's going to be the last join, which is the color join, and I'm going to duplicate that one. So just a simple straight duplicate, and just made it there, and I'm going to unparent that so it's outside of the group, and I'm going to rename one IK underscore spine underscore controller underscore join. That way I know that one, and then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to duplicate it. That's going to duplicate the whole chain, but I'm going to just say duplicate, edit, duplicate that one, and that whole has a whole skeleton duplicated, but I don't need a whole skeleton, I just need the first one. So I'm going to select the next one over, I'm going to unparent that, and then I can delete that whole part, and I'm going to unparent the hips also, and I'm going to delete those two. So I'm going to end up with this one, and actually this one is going to be IK underscore spine underscore control underscore join, and I'm just gonna call it underscore start, which is the start of the spine, and the other one I'm gonna rename it control join underscore end. That way I know which one is the start and which one is the end. And we duplicated that join because we need that join to be exactly in the same location as the other joins. Now we are going to do some connection between the curves and the joints. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the two joints, and then I'm gonna select the curve that is right now. It's hidden. I'm gonna turn it on so I can see it. So actually it's curves, not geometry. So it is. So I have the curve and the spine and the joint selected, and I'm going to create a binding, a smooth binding, or bind the skin as if it was geometry, but in this case it's going to be just the curve, and I'm going to just do it to the selected joints, because there are just two joints selected there, and I'm going to change it back to the closest distance back, and I'm going to change the influence. I don't want it to be such a high influence. I want to have a minimum influence. When I say 2, just to have a light influence on it, and then I'm going to say bind skin. So what I've done is that has created a an opportunity for me to move, manipulate that spine in a IK manner that I can try to manipulate on both ends. Now the character will be able to do some hip movement and some right location there. Okay, so I'm gonna just stop it there for now. Just make sure that I just increment and save my character.